Welcome back in the studio. It's been a while.
Great to be back. It's been 3 weeks. So hi, Soa. Hi, Walter.
Hello.
And hello, viewers of the Culture Wave. I'm Yoo-jin. I'm Arirang culture correspondent.
So, Yoo-jin, you have been recently in Sweden, covering the Nobel Week, of course, in the Swedish capital, Stockholm. But apart from that, you've also got another story from the Northern European country. What do you have for us today?
Right. So this is my last story from my Sweden business
already
trip.
the last one.
Yes, it's already the last one. So Sweden has been in the spotlight recently because, as you mentioned, of course, it hosted this year's Nobel Prize award ceremony, which was attended by, of course, Korean author Han Kang, this year's literature laureate. But the connection between Sweden and Korea goes beyond the Nobel stage, as Sweden has been emerging as a new hub for K-culture in Northern Europe. So during my time in Sweden, I had the chance to visit two key institutions in charge of promoting Korean culture in the region.
The birthplace of ABBA, Spotify, and IKEA. Sweden has long been celebrated for its creativity and cultural innovation. This month, Stockholm became home to the Korea Creative Content Agency Sweden, the agency's first branch in Northern Europe.
We've seen growing interest in K-pop among teens and young adults, with Swedish musicians contributing as songwriters and producers. Given Sweden's global reputation in gaming, with titles like Minecraft and Candy Crush Saga, we plan to focus on collaboration in music and gaming.
Take Stockholm's K-pop non-stop dance academy, for example. Starting with just 2 classes and 20 students in 2015, it has grown to over 15 classes with a community of 200 students.
Before, it was more of a niche thing like K-pop, so it wasn't very widely accepted. It's not only singing and dancing, but it's also like the performance. And I also liked how you get to learn to know the idols more as a person and not just as an artist.
But it's only recent years that this interest has started to flourish. So after opening Northern Europe's first Korean cultural center last year, Sweden has now welcomed KOKA Sweden, the first Korea Creative Content Agency's branch in the region.
Northern Europe historically had limited access to Korean culture due to its geographic distance and lack of dedicated cultural institutions. But with the rise of digital platforms, people here have begun to explore K-pop, Korean dramas, and more.
The opening of the Korean Cultural Center Sweden last year was a turning point. Since its launch in May 2023, the center has hosted a range of events, from K-pop festivals to Korean food seminars, establishing itself as a hub for promoting Korean culture not just in Sweden, but across Northern Europe. Director Lee Kyung-jae says there's a reason why Korean culture is spreading so quickly in Sweden.
Swedes are known for immersing themselves in their interests. For example, instead of simply enjoying kimchi at restaurants, many choose to learn how to make it themselves. Our center is serving as a space where they can share their passions and discover new aspects of Korean culture that are hard to access online.
This passion was evident among the students taking Korean language classes at the center.
You can tell this from the amount of Korean restaurants opening, the amount of Korean foods available in different Asian food stores. There is a bigger interest in Korean music. You can see Korean artists coming to play here.
People are getting more and more interested, and also having this Culture Institute opening up here as well. I think it's interesting to know more about Korea, because we know a little bit about Korea, but maybe not about a lot of the culture. So it's good to have all the other things that we don't know about Korea, like literature and food.
By bridging cultures, these two institutions are not only strengthening ties between Sweden and Korea, but also laying the foundation for deeper connections between Korea and Northern Europe.
Now, Yoo-jin, you've been to a number of countries to cover culture events and events that are related to Korea's culture. So how does it feel seeing those people immerse themselves in Korean culture, like learning the language as we saw, and also, learning K-pop, eating K-food? How does it feel?
Right. As a culture correspondent this year, I was very fortunate enough, and I had the privilege to travel several countries, France, Italy, the United States, Japan, and Sweden, to really look at how much Korean culture is making making waves in different parts of the world. But what I found especially special or particular about this experience to Sweden was that United States, Japan, France, Italy, there are places where Korean culture has become more mainstream or relatively more widespread than Sweden. But as I mentioned in my report, in Northern Europe, Korean culture or the Korean wave is at its starting point. So it's really refreshing to see how Korean culture is starting to be more loved by locals there. And I hope that I get a chance to cover more on how much Korean wave is becoming bigger, not only in Sweden, but in Northern Europe as well. So maybe we hope we can see more Korean cultural centers and the Korean Creative Content Agency's branches being open in other parts of Northern Europe as well.
Right. And speaking of those institutions.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that as well. So the two institutions you mentioned in your report are both relatively new, right? So you explained that the areas of Koka, Sweden will focus on, but what about the Korean Cultural Center?
So according to Director Lee of Korean Cultural Center Sweden, the center conducted a research and survey to really find out how Swedish people engage with culture and which areas of Korean culture interest them the most. And based on this data, the center selected 4 areas, which are literature, films, and then Korean food, and also handicrafts. So starting with literature, literature was a natural choice given Sweden's reputation as the home of the Nobel Prize in Literature, and also it's the home country of the late author Astrid Lindgren, who is best known for Pippi Longstocking.
One of my favorites.
Right, and also film is another priority as Sweden has a strong movie-going culture with its currency even featuring famous directors and actors. And then moving on to Korean food, it remains a favorite among global fans of Korean culture in other parts of the world as well. And also last but not least, Sweden is known for valuing handcrafted works as it's the home country of IKEA. So the center plans to design and run programs centered on these 4 areas of focus.
Let's hope, as you said, that we will have more of these centers all around the world so that, Yoo-jin, you can cover the stories for us worldwide. Well, thank you for that extensive coverage, Yoo-jin.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.